I'm very excited about our next speaker. Coming directly from Indonesia, we have Rizki Muhammad Ridwan. So Rizki, please do join us and I'll do a brief introduction. Rizki has been in the telecom industry for the past 15 years in key Asia markets, including Singapore, Japan, Myanmar, and Indonesia. He is the Vice President of Group Operational Excellence at Indosat Ooredoo in Indonesia. His experiences cover strategy, transformation, and operations. His key expertise is in driving execution of strategic and transformation programs to deliver value to stakeholders. He is pursuing an executive MBA at the Darden Business School at the University of Virginia in the United States. He lives with his wife and 2 kids, and playing with his kids is one of his best is when he has one of the best times in his life, which is fantastic. Rizki, it's a real pleasure to have you with us and sharing your insights on the regional agile digital squads. So thank you. Look forward to your presentation.
Sure. Thank you, Jose, for the introductions. It's really an honor for me to join this global forum. And today, let me share you a kind of perspective. So in the past 2 days, I think we have been attending these great sessions with great speakers, a lot of discussion on the cultural transformations. And let me now share you a kind of different perspective in terms of how for enterprise with regional presence and how the enterprise can transform into a new working cultures. And in this case, I'm trying to address with the agile ways of working. So before I go to the main discussion of today's my sessions, let me just quickly give you a kind of story, a quick story on my country and general. So I mean, we live in a multicultural and geographical world, and we know that the right culture is key for success, and also that and that is that the first step is to understand the culture itself. So let me give you a quick story. So my country, Indonesia, is a multicultural archipelago. It's 13 islands, 270 plus million populations, 1800 ethnics, 700 plus languages. So I just would like to show you the huge potential as well, which means the huge challenges for us who's practice transforming enterprises in this kind of countries. On another dimensions, Indonesia is also a mobile first digital nations. In terms of Facebook, it's third in terms of users in the world. Also for the Instagram, WhatsApp, the fourth. And most of people knows internet through mobile, and most of them are smartphone. So that's a little bit story, or just to give you a perspective of where I'm now and working in this country. So let's bring this and zoom in to the map, and let's bring this in context of our discussion today. So I think everyone has passed the definition of culture, but one short words that I like to define is kind of ways of working, how things get done based on certain values or beliefs. And just like a country, enterprise is also having its own cultures, and mostly also to a certain extent is defined or impacted by where people reside in that country. So for Indonesia, with a lot of different islands and geographies, usually the headquarters is in Jakarta, its capital, and across the region there's typically kind of like 5 regions. So the key point of discussion here is about the headquarter regional ways of working. Basically, how do we assess and at the end of the day improve the ways of working in this setting? And another way to look into this is about or the question is why headquarter region ways of working is important. So another way is to look into these dimensions. It's about the strategy and execution dimensions. Headquarter is like the strategy part, while region is the execution part, right? Somebody said without strategy, execution is aimless, and without executions, strategy is useless. So this actually guy, CEO of one of the biggest semiconductor manufacturing company. Well, this reminds me to Jose's yesterday's great illustration on how semiconductors really exponentially change. It's really great. And yeah, back into this, and even it's more important to understand the ways of working between headquarters and region in these current situations, in these challenging situations. So, and if we look into the strategy and executions, one thing that bridging the two is so-called operating model. And ways of working is key part of the operating model that bridging the two. The other thing is about the how the structures, how the capabilities enablers, and how the monitoring systems between headquarters and the regions. And ways of working is basically the culture itself, how the people, the mindsets, and how the people act on certain situations, accomplishing the work in the company based on the company's values and beliefs. So it is important that to understand the operating model. And talking about operating model, there are kind of certain, if I may to break it down into three types, like the headquarter lead, the headquarter region balance, and regions independency. So the lens is on the level of decisions and resource management authority. So like the level of authority, the policy decision making, and how the budget is segregated between headquarters and regions, and etc. So different ways companies adapt these models. But in any ways, in any form of the operating model, there are common challenges that headquarter regions ways of working face, particularly in today's situations. And some areas like strategy alignment and communications, process or governance, and executions. I would like to highlight some of it, like for example, in strategy alignments, it's really common the objective or the KPI are misaligned. So HQ has its own KPIs, while regions has another KPIs, which is more toward the execution part. So HQ is like more toward the mid and long term, where region is really like the short term in the next month or in the next weeks. So this kind of thing is one of the key challenges that found in these interactions. And second is on communications. So it's silos is the common ways challenges. And for the process governance is different ways of working, particularly for my country now. It's huge culture, so people is really impacted by its cultures, the ways of working. It's also part of the common challenges. And in terms of executions, it's one of the keys like performance monitoring, how the headquarter or the region itself collaboration on this important part of the executions, the performance, how the performance now, and what should be done to improve the performance. So if the enterprise cannot address the challenges and find out a way to overcome it, eventually bad things will come, like objective alignment, slow time to market, low customer satisfactions, and low employee morale. So this is the thing that also experienced in my current companies in the past years. But so my next story is, let me address you my based on the like in the past 2 years. This is when we started this initiative. One big question is how to improve our headquarter regional ways of working. So and I remember into this statement that if you want something different, you have to do something different. So that really caught our thinking at that time. So we were finding out what the things that we are not doing good so far, and what are the things that we are doing so far. So until at like kind of a retrospective sessions between the team, the management, and with the help of consultant, we eventually found out outside there like the Agile and Scrum framework. I think this is on the top. I mean, it's a hot in the industry, but in our company, it's quite new. We never tried it before. So we were learning about it. We are learning about the mindset, the values, the principle, and etc. And in this session, I'm not going to go through about this, but I mean how we learn about it and how we implement it, and then next how we relate it to improve the ways of working in our company. And we know that Scrum is the most chosen practices for Agiles, and so we try to learn about it and try to adapt in our strategic projects related to headquarter and regional executions. The first question, but will it work? I mean, will it really turn around the result from the misalignment in objectives, slow time to market? At the time, we didn't know about that, and a little bit of skepticism, because it's of course it's proven in one company, but we also see some failure in other companies. But after some more discussion and retrospective, we eventually try it. And although we learned that most of Agile practice are in software or IT, and the typical of our company is telecom company. Yes, it is technology, but in regional, it's mostly in operations, in sales and marketing. And the IT or software part is actually in headquarter. So how do we really blend this together so we can adapt the Agile ways of working in the best suit for our company? And then we tried to form this to change from this traditional structural into Agile digital squad. So whereby in traditional, it's a common function to function between headquarter and regions. It's functional, irregular meetup, and different KPIs. It's also silos there. And we tried to set up squad for each region. So in that squad, we have cross functions between the headquarters and regions. We have the daily stand-ups and everything that routine in the Scrum, and it's co-location virtual. And as I said again, we started this in 2 years ago. And one of the important features of this is also it's enable the on-spot decision making. So it's no longer like a bureaucracy whereby decision is really way and time consuming. And we also set up a Scrum routine. So we call it related by Captain. Captain usually like a sponsor from a CXOs, and the coach the coach is the CXOs, and Captain is the head of region, kind of SVP, and an agent. An agent is the one who facilitated the Scrum routine and etc. So we literally try ourselves going through this Scrum Agile things for a couple months. So did it work? So I mean, yeah, in a couple months, yes and no, but overall it's not yet. Yes, we know now, we but the stand up, I mean the good thing of stand up, good thing of meeting every day, the good thing of that we all know in one room, so no more of time consuming to talk to a lot of people, so everyone is in the room. So but again, if we talk about the our challenges, which is slow time to market, low customer satisfactions, it is not yet there. So at that time, we again try to having a kind of retrospective with our regions, with our chief and management, and we come up with this framework how we do a retrospective and a kind of survey with the squad, with the regions. So a couple of things. First is we look into the squad team compositions, how actually the compositions, the cross-functional effectively form. Is it really the one that regions needed? Is it really what is it can move faster the decision making? So that's kind of thing. We evaluate the composition of the teams. And second is on the schedule itself. I mean, yes, Scrum is daily stand up, but again, it's how we can improve it. And the next one is also kind of really important, how we evaluate the monitoring and reporting system, how the squad can be monitored and get kind of more not real time but fast reporting system. And the last two is more towards the perceive of the impact and reward and recognition, which is not least, but it's really really important because it's related to the team spirit and motivations. So the findings is something like this. So on the optimal squad compositions, the team found out that the original composition is not that really optimum. So some function is not really needed to be in squad, but some missing function need to be included. So we reformat the squad compositions. And in terms of sign-ups, it's kind of flexibility that it's actually it's not need to be daily. Well, we are actually our operating model is still like SQ led, and the region is more toward the execution for the sales and marketing. So it's like the region need also time to really visit the market, and so we adjust the sign up into like 2 up to 3 times in a week. And in terms of KPIs, we also try to align it. So there is a shared KPI amongst the between the SQ and the regions. Like for example, so like for example, before that the HQ is the one who is responsible to track the conditions of the subscribers churn, like the subscriber, the loyalty program. So now we have that kind of shared, and region try to help on that matter. And on the reporting integrity and so the region said that the reporting need to be more integrity and transparency. So that's another part that the headquarters try to improve and fix the issues. And the last part is the most important one, is like on the reward and recognitions. So the region said, or the squad said, that it needs more to be holistic. It's not to be just accidentally a reward and recognition, but need to be plugged into the whole corporate reward and recognitions, the whole human resource program. So at the end, we form, or we reform the squad setup to be more optimum in terms of compositions and daily or the stand up itself. And we also align in terms of the target setting and as well as the reporting. And at the end, we also try to bring the management has approved that yes, we need to have a bigger reward and recognition. So it's kind of really not really a small thing, but kind of a really a big thing for the employee and also the company. So again, back to the question, so did it work? And the and then we look into the key points that was the challenges that we have in the beginning. And the answer, yes, I mean, it's kind of, it's showing the result. Now the team having more confidence because we are asking them what is the best format of the squad, what is the best format of the schedule of the stand-up, and how the reward and recognition should be, and etc. So it's kind of a bottom-up. We included the bottom-up process on how to set it, the whole thing of this agile practices. And yes, we see now objectives is more aligned, have a shared KPI, and we are looking more now faster time to market, and looking into the better customer satisfaction, as well as more and more employees are getting higher morale and motivations. And on top of that, this is the most important, I think, is more people now embracing agile as the new normal ways of working culture in the company. So it's again, we started with smaller team, but now more people looking into the that we prove it to be kind of success, and we have turned around some of the KPIs that we were struggling. So people now was looking into that facts and trying to embrace the cultures. And now we are having more even bigger program for this, and it's corporate wise, and not only certain teams or functions. It's the whole companies. So I think yeah, mine I think is quite fast for today. It's so what matter most first is, of course, agility is really now. I mean, in the past, it's many companies think whether agile ways of working is really needed, but I think in the current challenging situation is really now. It's the question about die or stay there. And second is about dare to try. I mean, agile was new for us, but at the time we were convinced and having the spirit to try. And in the process of trying, we were trying to be flexible always. We look into what's working and what's not, and also having, this is the biggest takeaway actually, having need to be having more retrospectives. Because the more we think about that, the more we can learn, and it's kind of continuous learning. And at the end of the day, after we knows and we knows what's working and need to be amplified, and which one is need to be improved, we need to be act, right? We need to be act and try again. It's kind of looping, and by the time we should have kind of improvement from where we were to where we want to be. So I think this concludes my presentation today. It's really an honor for me to share with you my perspective. Hopefully it is a value, although it's kind of short. So, and I think let's connect. And yeah, please, I pass to you. What was it? Thanks.
Thank you very much, Rizki. Wonderful demonstration of implementation of agile in a multicultural environment. So I'm going to be monitoring for questions. So for those of you who are watching the presentation, go ahead and submit your questions. I keep an eye here on the second monitor on your questions coming in. I'm going to ask you to share a little bit more about the company, because I think some of our audience may not know who Indosat and you know, and what the company does. So if you can tell me just a little bit about the background, the size of the company, the businesses in which it operates, in terms of context, that'll be really helpful.
Sure. Yeah, I think I apologize not saying about that in the beginning. So the company is government-backed telco company firms. We are the operators. It's between Qatar and Indonesia. The size of company is around to around 3,000 people. So we are in the era of transforming the company. Well, telco in general everywhere is transforming itself, right? We are finding the next format of telcos, right? 5G is there, but how actually the use case of the new telcos, that's we are trying to transform into that directions. Yeah.
Very good. And Rizki, what do you actually do? Do you work on the infrastructure side of telecom, setting up infrastructure towers, or you work on the software side of telecom? What is the specific business segment that you work on?
Sure. Our group is the operational excellence, so it's across the technical, marketing, commercial, every. So it's end to end. We are under the COO, so we were handling all the strategic programs in the company. So it's kind of transforming the company and helping how to proceed next.
Very good, very good. And one of the things that was really striking about the market, especially in Indonesia, as you share with us, is that I noticed that you have 170% mobile penetration, which means that the average Indonesian has like at least 2 mobile sets.
Exactly.
So tell us a little bit. I think that especially for Americans, that's truly a foreign concept. And you know, being originally from Latin America, I understand people carry 3 or 4 different phones sometimes with them. And but tell us, to our broader audience, a little bit about why, you know, why do people have the need to have multiple phones, as an example?
Yeah, I think first is that it's about. I mean, one of the interesting insight is that people use different numbers to call to get a cheaper price. Like it cheaper just between one operators, right? So people use one phone to call the others who's having the same operators. So it's kind of to getting this kind of cheaper rate for calling. But second is, of course, they have one is one is smartphone and the other one is tab, or one is smartphone, the other one is just like the old phones that they have. So that's kind of insight that's quite interesting, yeah, that I found in this country.
Very, very good. All right, so some questions that are coming in here, I want to pass on to you. So Angela Simmons asked one of the questions here. She talked about, in your presentation, you discuss the spirit of trying and as a driver for the change. So she was wondering, beyond the spirit of trying, what were the other drivers or motivations behind the change?
Yeah, sure. I think that's a really great question. Yeah, it's kind of mixed between the spirit of trying and also the spirit in the challenging time. How to we felt that we need to do something new to get a new results. So we were in that situations that we were struggling and we need to turn around the company. So I mean, it's between feeling of that, hey, we must change, right? So that's kind of feeling that really drive us, and no matter what, we need to find a way and go to the right directions.
Very good, very good. Janice Peters has a question about the squads themselves, and she's curious about how many people are in each one of these squads.
Sure, I think it's a great questions. So if you remember that, like in Indonesia, there are 5 regions, right? So typically five regions. So we have in one squad kind of cross-functionals, and typically the number is around 12 people across the functions, mostly in sales, marketing, network, IT, sourcing, and finance. So they are working together to really drill down the issues for certain regions. They're helping specific to certain regions and escalate any issues up to the coach. Coach is the CXO itself, and we have the board that resolve if the squad cannot really resolve the certain problem. Yeah.
Very good, very good. Aklak Khan asks, has comments here. He says, first of all, great model. And he says that I have been using the same model in my business transformation strategy. And there is some effort combining lean and agile and design thinking strategies. And he is wondering if you have looked into design thinking as part of your strategy.
Yeah, again, we are learning about that. We just, I think, another group is trying to apply that design thinking in our company, because I think it's really that innovation and operational excellence should be aligned together, and design thinking is part of important part of the innovations. We bring some experts to really coach us and help us to come to that stage where we can apply design thinking for our innovations in particular. Yeah.
Very good. One of the aspects of your presentation that I really enjoyed is that you had an issue, a problem, you identify an opportunity, and you thought we're going to implement, Agile, Scrum, and this digital squads, and we're going to launch that. And then you go ahead and you say that we did it, and it didn't work. And I thought that was very good, very honest, and because so many people make it look like, every time that I try something, it works. And you said, we did this and it didn't work. And then we had to look again. We had to be introspective and retrospective about it and figure out how to change things. And you showed a number of different things that worked, that were important in making it work the second time around. Just refresh our memory again as you look at what you went through and that time where things were not working as expected. What did you think were like the two most important changes that you made, that from the first trial that didn't work very well to the second one that was more successful? If you pick a couple of things, what are the two most important things that happened between those two iterations?
Yeah, I think I would pick one is the team composition itself. So it's important to really have the right team composition in the squad. So, and it must be a dedicated. So and to make it dedicated, it need to be clear that the KPIs should be clear. So people in the squad shouldn't think that it's kind of more work for them, but squad is their main job. So that is one of the mindset that we were trying to we have been fixing by aligning the KPIs of the squad with the individual KPIs. So squad is their main job now. Because in the past, this kind of thing is kind of project. Project is kind of project is like additional work for them, right? So that's kind of mindset that we trying to shift, right? Squad is now the way of working as a BAU, as the way of working, and it's not kind of project, but it's the way we're working now. Yeah, I think
Very
that's
good.
the.
Janice Peters has another question. She's curious about, she specifically asked how you engage your chief transformation officer, but in a broader level, what was the engagement and involvement or engagement, depending on the level, of senior leaders in the organization? How did they get involved, number one? And number two, how did you communicate or engage with senior leadership as you move this initiative forward?
Yeah, I think I forgot to say in the beginning. This actually was brought from kind of the top-down initiative. So we are delighted that this is not a bottom-up. So the management is really supporting this, and they are trying to build this, and we are the agents to set it up. So yes, we are happy that this is really top from the top. Everyone from the CEO to down to all the management is really supporting this. So yeah, it's kind of top down initiative. I think you are muted.
Yeah, I was muted. Thank you for that. When it comes to the results, what are you most proud of in terms of results to the business and to the organization? What are you most proud of?
Sure, I think, yeah, as a hygiene, the first is about the turnout itself. So we are looking into the result that it's the turning on is happening, the business turning is happening. But again, the most important one is the one that I said in the last couple slides, right? It's about more and more people believe and embracing the new ways of working. So they are not looking, again, this is kind of a new or additional job for them. So this is, they are embracing it and trying to be part of it and supporting all the initiative, and then people is open for this kind of new way. So the agility way, and now everyone is in virtual, right? So even now people is embracing this quicker. Yeah,
very good. What do you see as the evolution of what you have done with the organization? Where is, in the next 12 months or so, where is the next step that you take what you have done?
yeah, I think that's something big question for us as well. So that kind of big question we are trying to formulate that. Of course, we are trying to continue what all the programs that is we are thinking is really working. It's kind of the hygiene and the BAU thing. And second is we are trying to shift into more innovations thing. So I think back to the design thinking, yes, we are trying to apply that and put it more into the core so that people will have tools to innovate. And even the company now has kind of innovations program, so all employees can start to contribute and kind of raise, and there's a reward program. So at the end of the day, I think it's all about the innovations is the next thing that the company is catching for.
Thank you. Rizki Muhammad Ridwan, what a tremendous presentation. Thank you so much for sharing with the world directly from Indonesia to the world. Really great practices on how you're advancing technology, transforming practices, transforming the business. And we thank you for your leadership, and we thank you for sharing that with all of us today.
Thank you, Jose, and everyone. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, ladies and gentlemen, that is from Indonesia to the world. The terrific work by Rizki and his team on creating this digital agile squads. Of course, agile is not new, but it's what's unique here are the cultural aspects of what it has done and the adaptations that he needed to make to achieve success. As we have discussed so often here, culture eats strategy for breakfast, and our initiatives become side dishes. And he has shown how to integrate his initiative with the culture, not only of his country, but of his region, of his organization as well. And also another very important concept of failing often to succeed sooner. He had somewhat of a failure there in the beginning when he deployed, and he could have said, well, forget it, agile is not for us, it won't work in our culture. He persisted, and with purpose, passion, discipline, and resilience, he was able to make a significant change for the business and for the professionals. So wonderful. We're going to shift gears in our next session. In our next session, we're going to go from Indonesia to North Carolina in the United States. And we're going to have Bilal Muhammad, who is the vice president at Wells Fargo, talking to us about moving at the speed of business in financial services during a pandemic. So we're looking forward to Bilal Muhammad's presentation. That's going to happen at the top of the hour. I will see you there soon. Thank you.